A nonpartisan study finding that Google, during the 2020 election cycle, routed Republican emails to spam folders 820% more than Democrat fundraising emails. And John Durham's last stand? Those two stories round out our legal issues of the week, and here to break them down, our legal legend, Alan Dershowitz, host of the podcast The Dersh Show, and also the author of The Price of Principle, Why Integrity is Worth the Consequences. It's Saturday morning, and I have my coffee and Alan Dershowitz right here. The RNC professor has filed a lawsuit against Google, alleging that it depressed the reach of its emails in 2020. Not the first time a big tech company has been accused of managing information so only certain voters see that information. What are your thoughts on this case?
Well, the great issue of the 21st century under the First Amendment is whether or not social media like Google and Twitter are subject to the First Amendment, are subject to government control. Everybody says that the First Amendment is relevant. Google says the First Amendment gives them the right to suppress and censor and pick what emails they're going to put in whatever basket. But the RNC says, no, they are more like a common carrier and they can't discriminate. This is an issue that has not been addressed by the United States Supreme Court. It's before them in a number of cases. Obviously, President Trump is involved and other people are involved. And by the end of this decade, we will finally get a resolution of that issue, but probably not in the next 2 or 3 years. It's a work in progress.
The RNC professor estimating Republicans missed out on millions and millions of dollars worth of contributions during 2020, and 70% of the emails from Republican candidates were sent to spam filters compared to less than 10% from Democrat candidates. So what do you understand telecommunications law and policy. Is there a way that the court or the Congress, frankly, could address this?
Oh, there is a way that Congress can address it easily. They can take away the exemption that social media platforms have on the ground that they claim to be nonpartisan. And if they're partisan, they should not get an exemption from defamation law and other kinds of laws. So Congress does have a weapon to do this. Mm-hmm. The courts do also. And I think there are going to be some very serious considerations by the courts. Look, Google and Twitter are not like a mom-pop store private, right, and they're not like the state of Arizona, completely public. They're somewhere in between. I think they're very analogous to what used to be the telegraph company or the telephone company. They are somewhere between private and public, and they perform an essential function. And the courts are going to have to deal and come to grips with what their exact status is as a matter of constitutional law.
Professor, I want to shift gears on you now. I know that you've said publicly that John Durham and the Igor Danchenko trial is ongoing, that he's got a bit of an uphill case to convict that Steele dossier source.
No question.
And the judge just yesterday dismissed one of the 5 counts against Danchenko. Explain for our audience, why is this a real uphill battle for Durham?
First of all, jurors don't like the law that says you can't lie to the FBI. The FBI can lie to you. You're not under oath. And jurors just don't like the fact that it's so one-sided. Also, the lies that have been charged for many jurors may look like a matter of degree, not, absolute black and white. Were you in Boston on that night? And there are train tickets showing you were in Boston and you claim you were in Florida. It's not that kind of a lie. It's a matter of degree. So it's very, very uphill. And I think, if Durham loses this, then people have the right to ask the question, was it worth it to have such an expensive investigation? But, obviously, justice must prevail. And if he's not guilty and if the jury has a reasonable doubt, they should acquit. So we shouldn't count on history being changed by Durham.
Do you think that the venue change for this trial as opposed to the last trial, does that matter?
Of course, it always matters. District of Columbia, you do not want to be on trial in the District of Columbia if you have anything to do with Trump. Having a different venue is very, very important. Every lawyer, the first thing they ask about is, where is the trial? Who is the judge? What is the jury panel? We think of justice as being blind. The Bible says don't recognize faces. But of course, we know that real jurors recognize faces and recognize identity politics and issue verdicts largely, or at least in part, based on who the person is and where they are sitting rather than just based on all the evidence.
All right. Well, we will wait and see. Professor Alan Dershowitz, as always, appreciate your insight, sir.
Thank you.
No crooked establishment.
None of that twisting the
truth.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax.
Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think.
They let
me decide.
Newsmax.
real news
For real people.